Welcome to the Right Now Show, presented by the Laguna Woods Writers Club.
Welcome to the Right Now Show. I'm Judy Saxon.
And I'm Charlie Redner. This is a show where we put the emphasis on writers, writing, and the arts.
And today we've got presidents, all the way from art to international folk dancing.
I'm so excited. Let's get started.
And nutrition.
And nutrition. I'm glad you mentioned that because I have a saying about nutrition I'd like to share up front.
I want to hear it.
I'm nutty for nutrition. I've become one of those people who can't stop talking about the connection between food and health. Now that I know how much change you can beat by eating that transforms your life, I can't stop proselytizing. That was said by Robin Quivers.
Yes, I know.
Who was, sidekick of Howard Stern.
Right.
And she had cancer and she took nutrition to heart and she's been working very hard. She even became a vegan for a while.
Really?
So let's find out more about nutrition.
Well, our first guest is Frida Gorelick, and what a background. She is president of the Nutrition Club. She's also president of the Tuesday International Folk Dancing Club. She was a school nurse. She was an elementary school teacher. She was a Head Start teacher. She was named Teacher of the Year. Welcome, Frida. That's just part of your accomplishment.
Hi, Frida. Welcome.
Thank you.
I know you have a philosophy about nutrition, and tell us what it is.
Okay, my philosophy is that we can help ourselves for whatever condition that we have, and that there's different routes, but there's some parameters that people need to follow if they want to become more healthy. But one size does not fit all.
Does the government tell us what we should be doing correctly?
I'm not so sure it's the government.
Okay.
All right.
Who publishes those documents that say this is what you should be eating?
I think it's maybe too much excess. But I think the basic tenets are the whole foods, avoiding sugar, maximum amount of sugar, less animal protein, more fruits
fish,
and vegetables.
Perhaps?
Well, it depends on your philosophy because there's a spectrum of nutrition.
Tell us. Can you really?
Well, I'm basically emphasize plant-based.
Plant-based.
Because you have all the phytonutrients that help in the healing process. The fruits and vegetables are important rather than all the saturated fats.
Yes.
And the oils, which are deadly. The hydrogenated oils. And I think people need to evaluate their conditions and maybe try some new type of dietary measures. It can be simplified. We have about 3 or 4 clubs here that are really helpful with nutrition. We have, besides our nutrition club, we have the Mindful Eating Club, we have the Wellness, and we all support one another.
Oh, good.
And the whole idea is to help people make changes. And I feel that when you are diagnosed with a particular disease, it's a wake-up call. And so you have the choice to make changes or not. But there's a lot of support here.
But how do you know if you're doing it right?
Well, I've read a lot of books and I've attended conventions.
Right.
And I was motivated by my husband when he was diagnosed with cancer at age 40.
Oh my.
And was given 1 year to live.
Oh my.
So it's 26 years later.
Congratulations. And you learned a lot about nutrition.
Yes, I have. Because, we grew up with meat and potatoes and sugar like all of us. And when we grew up, it was more whole foods than it is now because there's too many processed foods out there. And so less is more. But when my husband was diagnosed, he said, I want to live. Of course we want you to live.
Yes.
And I had a cousin back east who was macrobiotic.
Oh.
And so my husband called her, and my husband was macrobiotic for 2 years, which is another healing diet originating from Japan. Again,
being
it's
what
more,
foods? What specific?
Grains, sea vegetables, a lot of vegetables
Seaweed
and grains.
and
Yes, yes. miso. They have their statistics too. And through attending these conferences, I met a lot of interesting people. People that have healed their cancers 4th stage with diet. So I mean, I'm a believer.
Wow.
I also go to vegan conferences. There's a lot to this. I've read the China study, Eat to Live by Joel Fuhrman. Mm-hmm. They explain how to do it. They give you ideas. And no, I'm a firm believer in it.
I talked to a vegan a couple weeks ago who, for the moment, cannot eat fruit and vegetables. She's living on peanut butter and hummus.
Well, I mean, there's junk food vegans also.
What's that?
I mean, people that say they're vegans, they live off of potato chips.
No, she won't eat milk, dairy, or
fish. No, she can't eat. If she's a vegan, she doesn't eat any dairy or any animal product.
No, she won't eat Jell-O. She said it has gelatin in it.
That's right, from an animal. But my husband's vegan, and they have their statistics. Mm-hmm. I'm about 90% plant-based. I'm not vegan.
Are you? Wow. What is the China study?
The China study is the study originating in China about different type of dietary practices. And again, the plant-based diet is related to longevity, health conditions, and we're going to be attending a vegan conference in Vegas in a few more weeks. And the top doctors that are integrative medicine doctors really believe that food is a way to help your particular medical issues. And like I said, I've met many people. Yeah. So I'm convinced.
Now, do you ever eat anything like ice cream?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm not a vegan.
Candy bars?
Yeah, I do. But I'm trying, I mean, I do like sugar. Mm-hmm. And I know that's an addiction. It's the same addiction part of the brain where alcohol is. So it's all related.
Oh, wow.
So I try not to buy dessert, but when I'm out.
Yeah.
You get the pull and you do it, right? You reach over and grab a chocolate.
No, I mean, I try not to do it every day, but yeah. I don't want it in my house.
Yes,
that's why I don't bake.
Right.
Because I'll eat it all.
It disappears. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I do too.
Wow.
I know you're doing something as a volunteer that's fascinating. You're a friend of the, well, tell us what, of Orange County detainees.
Yes, I'm a volunteer for Orange County detainees, and my last detainee that I helped was in November, and I haven't been back to the detention center, and this is to end isolation in the detention centers. We have one here in Irvine that people are not even aware of.
So now you become what, their friend, or you go and visit them?
You visit them, and sometimes you advocate. We have a whole system.
They're juveniles?
No, they're all ages.
Oh, I thought for some reason they were juveniles. Oh,
no.
Okay.
And it's right here at Music in Irvine. People don't even know we have this facility here. And
how many inmates would they hold there?
I don't know what it is, but it's one of the detention centers in Orange County. It's one of 3.
I never heard of it.
And I started this through Tapestry, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Started the whole program over 3 years ago. So I started this 3 years ago, and I visited a few detainees. And now my interest is the green card veteran.
Now, what is that?
And these are the veterans who were undocumented that joined our armed forces.
Right.
And they were promised citizenship naturalization, you know.
They were?
Yes, and then they were deported. I mean, they received
The
honorable discharge,
right.
but got into some trouble with, alcohol, substance abuse, and they were deported. And I had the opportunity of going down to Mexico, Tijuana, and I met these veterans, and it just broke my heart. And I said, because I went on a justice mission with Unitarian, and I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell people. So I wrote 25 people of stature that may be able to do something. I spoke to Mimi Walters' aides and Loretta Sanchez, and no,
But
it's the great.
you found someone in Tijuana, or you found someone at the detention center that you were able to help?
Well, this is still through an immigration concern. I helped a particular person in detention with his asylum case.
Okay.
But it's still the same program. It's a different twist on it, but I think going back to this veteran situation, the fact that we are in Memorial Day,
Yes.
you listen to their stories, and there are people that are trying to help. In fact, Bernie Sanders went down to the wall, and I think when you go see the wall in Mexico, Tijuana, it really touches your heart. So I'm really interested in this particular issue.
I'm curious, when you go and visit the detainees at the detention center, what kind of work do you do? Are you helping them with a legal
Well, I mean,
case,
we're not attorneys.
No.
We listen to them and we try to connect.
connect them with who can help them?
we try, but we have a transition team that picks up the detainees when they're released.
Oh.
So it's well organized, and we do have spokesmen from Orange County detainees. But I think it's just educating people. They're asking for volunteers, and a lot of these people are asking for asylum because of the persecution in their countries.
And the last one you helped was a detainee, and you had a court hearing, and
I went on his behalf.
Right.
And his sister came in to identify him.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote letters, and I did some things probably that weren't legal, but I took the papers from what his family had given, and when he was being escorted into the courtroom, they said, "Are you his attorney?" I said, "Yes." And they took the papers, and then I had to say, "No," I said, "I'm the advocate."
Right.
So I had to come clean.
Yeah.
But this judge was one of the most compassionate judges I've ever met.
That's
Oh,
wonderful.
good.
And after hearing his story, she granted asylum. This is not the common, though.
Oh, good.
No.
But I was so deeply touched by this.
I can
still
see
am in
that.
contact with him.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh,
Congratulations.
good for you.
We're not going to get a chance to talk about the folk dance or anything
Oh, that's
else.
right.
We got to wrap
The
this
folk
up.
dancing.
Oh, my God.
this went
That's
so
important,
fast.
too.
Oh,
Well, we'll
it
bring you
is.
back. We have a second season.
Thank you, Frida. Stay tuned. We're going to speak with Jim Gibson, who's president of the Art Association. Wow, that went
Amazing.
fast.
You
Oh,
are
wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just-
I retired 18 years ago, and a good friend of mine says, "Hey, Gear, what the hell are you going to do with your time now?" And the next thing I knew, I was a delivery man for Meals on Wheels.
To the homebound neighbors he's delivered meals to for 18 years. My father, Homer Gear, is the real leading man.
Hey, well, hello there. How are you today?
Welcome back. Charlie, I understand you have a quote about art.
I do. I thought it would be appropriate to lead into our next guest. And here's what it says. If you hear a voice within you that says you cannot paint, then by all means paint. and that voice will be silenced. That was said by Vincent van Gogh, of all people. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I like that. Well, Jim Gibson is our guest, and he's president of the Laguna Woods Art Association, and he started taking art lessons at age 5. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, art for me and my brother, who also lives here, who's about 16 months older than I,
Oh, let's get that in.
always was something that we escaped to. Whenever there was any kind of problem in the family or whatever it was, we would go into our bedroom and we would draw cartoons and pictures.
Huh.
And that's the way it began. At an early age, before 5. My mother looked at us and she goes, you know, those boys, they're up to something. I'm going to give them a little help. So she took us down to the Santa Barbara Art Museum. I was 5, and that's kind of where my career began.
5 years old.
Wow.
And you loved it right away.
I've always loved to draw and paint.
Yeah. And you got accolades along the way. A lot of them, it sounds
I
like.
I was lucky. I was a kid that could draw, and I wasn't good at math and things like that at first. But when I get up to the easel, the kids would want to see what I was doing.
Oh.
So going up like through high school, were you able to take art classes that helped
I was
you?
an art major all the way through. In high school, I would take. I think in my senior year, I had 2 years of art class, or two classes a day in art.
My.
And then there was an interruption called the U.S. Army came along, and when I got out, I enrolled as an art major in college, fine arts.
And you wanted to actually have that as your career in
Yes,
art.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to be a painter.
Yeah.
But that's a very tough, hard row to hoe. That's a tough one. And I had a young wife and 2 little kids, so I went back to reality and. I worked within the graphic arts field, which
That's
is
what I was going to
sort of
say.
related.
Some of your high school training and maybe later on you learned a little about graphic arts and you can go into that field. And
Yeah, but excuse me.
it's correct.
I always painted. After work, I'd come home and I would be continuously working on some project or another.
That's discipline. I mean, with a family to go home and paint. And you painted into the early hours, I read, the early morning hours.
Yeah, I usually worked nights, and I'd get off, let's say, around midnight, and I'd paint at night. It was where everything's quiet. There's
Yeah.
no interruptions.
Yeah. Right. So then you retired, and then, are you retired?
I am
Yeah.
retired,
And
yes.
then you had time
Oh, yeah.
to
It's like so many people, when you come into Laguna Woods Village, the realtor takes you around and shows you the various amenities. And she brought me through the art studio, and I looked in there and I said, that looks where I belong. And so for the past, it took me actually about 6 months to finally get in there and start painting. So I've been a member of the Art Association for 11 and a half years. And painting in the Clubhouse 4 art studio all that time. I'm in there probably 4 or 5 afternoons a week on the average.
Tell us about the club. Tell us about how it works and when you meet and what you do.
Yeah, we paint. Our studio is Clubhouse 4. We have 350 members.
Oh my.
We have, not just like any other club, we have a board of directors, a treasurer, vice president, and everything like that.
Right.
We have
Monthly meetings?
a monthly business meeting. We have shows. We have usually 4 shows a year. Oil and acrylic, watercolor, mixed media, and
Sculpture?
And student show. Currently, we have a student show that's up in the art studio, and right now we have a big show. I guess
What do you say
know where it
student?
is.
What do you mean by student?
Yes.
Oh, students. Okay, we give classes, free classes to all our members.
Okay.
It's a great deal.
Great.
It costs a resident
Right.
$20 to join the Art Association, and then you can take free classes. So, and they're in all the media.
And you're one of the teachers, or you
Occasionally I'll be a
sometimes?
teacher. I haven't lately, since I'm the president now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have great teachers in all the media, and from beginning to advanced. And so we teach. And we bring people in. A common story is somebody comes in to retire here, and they're 65 years old, and they've never said, well, I can't draw a straight line. I'll never learn how to draw or paint. It's really great to see their progress and what happens to them after,
Right.
let's say, a year.
Oh,
So tell us about the art. You've been instrumental in moving your art around the whole community, including this building.
this building, yeah.
Yeah, well, for many, many years we have displayed our art. We've exhibited it in most of the clubhouses.
Clubhouse
Yes.
3 had, yes, a lot.
Clubhouse 3 had a big venue there. But that was recently taken from us because they're remodeling the clubhouse.
That's right, yeah.
And when that was just before I became the president this year, and I was sort of bummed out by that. And I thought, oh, we're losing. See, an artist needs a place to exhibit their work. To exhibit your work, to show your work, is just about as important as to create the work. You want it open to people to see what you're doing.
I can understand that, sure.
As a writer, you understand.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Read my
You want
books.
people to read your stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, painters are like that too. And so I thought, this
That's
is
the
really a bummer.
reward.
So I complained about it to the upstairs folks, and a little bit, it wasn't too bad about it. But we had an oil and acrylic show this year in March, and a 50th anniversary oil and acrylic show, because we've been in existence for 50 years now.
Right.
We have been teaching people and encouraging people to become artists and for 50 years. And so we had a 50th anniversary celebration oil and acrylic show, and it turned out to be the best show we've ever put on. It was a great.
Where did you
great
hold it?
show. It was in Clubhouse 4. We always have a great reception where we have lots of champagne and hors d'oeuvres and everybody. And Mayor Hatch was there.
Oh.
And the previous mayor, Connors, I think. And I think some of the VMS folks were there. And they liked what they saw. So about a week later, I got a call from Brad Hudson's office, and he was interested in us doing a show here in this building.
What a good idea.
And so I contacted the board and got the folks together very quickly, and we organized to exhibit on all 3 floors of this building.
Wow. I've seen the art downstairs. It's beautiful. And your piece
yes.
behind the
and you've got one
reception
on the,
center is just
here at the Channel 6 and on the first floor, and you have 3 permanent paintings in Clubhouse 7 in the lobby behind the bar. I was looking at those. What are they called? What do you call them? Tic-tac?
They're triptych.
Triptych.
That's a word, means a 3-part painting.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Triptych.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think, about 10 years ago. Right after they had constructed Clubhouse 7, they were going to decorate it with the standard stuff that you might get from some furniture store or whatever. Standard copies of
goodness.
paintings
Oh,
that look
the
nice,
prints,
but
the big
prints, but they're
giant
not
prints.
original.
Oh,
and so our president at the time objected, and our board objected, and we got together with some GRF people and made a deal where we would exhibit that place. And so it was a juried-in competition, and they selected me to create 3 pieces that are now, for the past 10 years, have been hanging behind the bar in the middle area of Clubhouse 7.
oh, wonderful.
Tell me about those. Tell us, they're of waves, right? I mean, yeah, the 2 is will you tell?
I'll explain it to you. Okay, I went into the room and I said, what kind of painting would go nice in here? And I thought, I want it to reflect. See, I had been doing a lot of walking during those years around the golf course. I go at night out there, and I noticed there's a lot of wind that blows through those hills right there. It's a very pleasant wind in the evening, and just a good feel. And so those what you call waves are more like wind.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I can see that, yeah.
I wanted to create a piece that was not distracting, but yet pleasant background for somebody to come up to the bar and have a drink and talk with somebody, but not be distracted too much.
I wanted to talk
They're
about
perfect. Very peaceful.
the Writers Club and the Art Club getting together. Once a year, you come to the Writers Club and you have your paintings posted around the room, and we get a chance to do ekphraxis and write about the paintings.
Yes, and I've heard about that.
And I wanted to tell you, I saw this painting. I don't know if they'll see it too well. This is a painting, Carla Gash.
Yeah, Carla.
And I saw this painting. It's a paintbrush. And I said, where has that paintbrush been There must be a story behind it. So I did write a story about it, and fortunately for me, our Publishers Club published it in their first anthology, and it's about that paintbrush. So there's a definite tie-in between you art people and us write people.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. We were talking about poetry earlier, right, and how the similarities of the process of creating poetry.
Yeah, you write images, but before there was writing, there was painting.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Painters went back 40,000 years.
I'll give you that.
If you go back to certain caves in France and in Indonesia or wherever, you find paintings on walls that are 40, 50,000 years old. Writing didn't begin until a lot later. See,
Never thought of that.
Picture making was before the making of alphabets and cuneiform and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's something about the human species. It's just inherent that we must record.
What we've done, what we're doing.
We've got to express, you see.
true.
So I went from picture making to, then the pictures became writing. If you look at the Asian, Asian characters, they're little pictures.
Yes.
That goes way back.
Never thought of that.
Yeah. We are recording images. And when I was born, the day I was born, my father came into the hospital and told my mother, "Honey, I've just bought us a lot. We're going to build a house up in the mountains above Santa Barbara. We're going to live in Painted Cave." There's a little community just up in the mountains called Painted Cave, and it's a tiny little town on a butte. And there's an actual Indian cave with ancient Indian paintings right.
You're kidding.
Right there. Of course, it's vaulted and you can't get in, but you can see in. So that stuck in my mind
forever
to this day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this time has flown.
I know. We still have some quotes to go through. Do you have any quotes?
Yes, thank you, Jim. Thank you
Thank
very
you so much, Jim.
Well, Charlie, we certainly have learned a lot.
I did. It was an interesting half hour,
Yes,
wasn't it?
and do you have any inspirational words for us?
I have another quote about art. Without art, the crudeness of reality would make the world unbearable. George Bernard Shaw. And you have a question?
I do. This is by Picasso. It took me 4 years to paint like Raphael, but a lifetime to paint like a child.
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. I love that.
Can you? Yes. Yeah. Don't forget the Writers Club. Second Friday of the month, 3 o'clock, Clubhouse 3, Dining Room 1. And I'm Judy Saxon, and thanks for watching.
And I'm Charlie Redner. See you next time. Jim, that was interesting.
Thank you.
That was very interesting.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure for those coping with Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.